every pony and every creature. Welcome to tonight's podcast at DAG. As always, this is Dratta Arcana, and welcome to Dratta Talks. Okay, it's been a while since I've done a solo podcast. So, basically, what tonight's going to be is, it is a status update. It has been about 2.5 months since the last time I did a solo podcast. It's also been about 3 months since I've done a channel update, and you guys may have noticed the lack of uploads besides the Brony D&D and my podcast. Okay, a little while ago, I told you guys a thing on one of my animated videos about the last BroNYCon, which I will get to that in a moment. Actually, let's jump on that now. You may have noticed that the final days of BroNYCon have not been uploaded. Okay, you may have noticed that. You also may have heard me say, hey, I was going to increase my uploads to 3 times a week. You may have noticed that this has not been happening. You also may have noticed that my vlog for the last part of BroNYCon has not been edited and uploaded. And you may have noticed that I uploaded a really poorly edited version of the first 2 days of BroNYCon. Okay, what's happened? What has occurred to Dratta's content? Where is it? What's become of it? You may have also noticed last month of August, I did not upload a video called Dratta Storytime. You may be wondering, what's going on, Dratta? What's kind of happened? And that's what I'm here to tell you tonight. What kind of occurred? Well, first, let's get some general news about IRL out of the way. And the reason I'm going to go into my IRL stuff for once is because normally I try to avoid IRL in any of my YouTube stuff. I try to avoid it as much as possible. And I have a reason for that. IRL should never come into the work life, into my videos and stuff. But it's going to be difficult to explain what's kind of happened if I don't kind of explain what's actually happened. So there's kind of a story to this. And it is, 3 years ago, I moved into the apartment complex I currently live. And that's when I first moved out here. I started working with the state and everything, in state government. And I was still doing film and all that. And 3 years ago, I made a different kind of income. I made a different amount and everything. So the apartment complex I had was a lot more inexpensive. I live currently in a studio apartment, about 194 square feet. It's not big. It was fine for what I had assigned to myself at the time. Over the course of this last year, 2019, I have a new position with the state, and I have a new regular day job now. And honestly, with all the stuff that I have now too, the space that I currently live in has not been sufficient. Also, there comes a point where life shifts. And what's happened is, back in April of this year, 2019, my apartment complex was going through some rough times. And what I mean by rough times is that they kind of brought it upon themselves. And what has happened is that the apartment complex is about 60 years old. And an apartment complex that's 60 years old, tends to have a lot of maintenance issues. Back in April, or even in, I think it was like February or March, about 4 buildings lost hot water. And what ended up happening was that the apartment complex didn't have the funds or didn't really want to. I don't know whether it was the lack of funds or whether it was the fact that they just didn't want to spend any money on the apartment complex. But they left 4 buildings without hot water. And that ended up going to court. They left those buildings without hot water for about 2 months, and they were taken to court for it. On April 20th, they went to the court case. They lost the court case, and they had to fix the hot water within like 3 or 4 days. So they fixed the hot water. It was around this time that the city decided to take a little bit more action, and they ran some county health inspections on some of the buildings. Now, the buildings were kind of chosen at random because they had to actually go into people's homes. And it was found out that out of 4 buildings, there were about 100 health code violations that were issued to the apartment complex. Since the issuance of the violation letters that were sent to them, the apartment complex chose to do nothing. Well, right before BroNYCon, meanwhile, while I'm getting ready for BroNYCon, and I'm super excited to be at BroNYCon finally and have a good time and stuff, the week before BroNYCon, and by this point, I had already been searching for a new place. I knew that the apartment that I lived in was going downhill. It was no longer big enough for me. And honestly, it's just everything about it was going south. About a month and a half before, I heard noises in my crawl space above my apartment. Turns out I have a raccoon, I think, that lives up there, or a squirrel. I reported it to, the maintenance office, and of course, they haven't done anything about it. They seem to think that they have bigger issues than a rodent tearing up the crawl space, which actually does harm to the actual building structure. A lot of people don't realize how much a squirrel or a raccoon can do damage-wise, but it's a lot of damage. Because both squirrels and raccoons gnaw on wood, and if they gnaw on the correct piece of wood and break through it, you can lose the structure of the building. The building structure becomes weakened. And buildings are built very specifically with frames and stuff to help keep the construction of the building intact. And if you have a rodent up there, or any rodent, they gnaw through those, and the damage can actually weaken the building structure. Anyways, there's a little construction lesson for you regarding animals. As you guys probably know, I was partly a biology major, so my specialty is in mammals. So anyways, get back kind of on track. The apartment complex hasn't done anything about it. And I have a neighbor downstairs who's very loud, plays music at like 1 a.m. in the morning so loudly it vibrates the walls. So, needless to say, I was looking for a place by BroNYCon. And what hit it home was the week before BroNYCon, like middle of the week, I was reading an article on my complex. They had been taken to court again. This time in regards to their tax-exempt status as an affordable housing. And they lost. They lost the lawsuit. They lost their tax-exempt status because they chose not to show up to the court case. And you're probably all wondering, like, oh my God, this is all terrible news. And I'm like, it's fine. You know, this is the nature of Section 8 housing and the nature of apartment complexes. You know, a lot of these properties around the country are having these problems. It's not just my complex. A lot of complexes have this issue where the person that owns the complex really doesn't care too much about, you know, what happens with the complex. But normally most landowners try to keep complexes in, you know, living conditions, you know, keeping them up the code and everything, the building codes. Well, this apartment complex isn't at the moment, and it's getting a lot of heat for it. So I said, enough is enough. Let's get a new place. So I was searching pretty avidly at this point, and I made some changes to some other stuff, and I was able to get a new place. So what does this all kind of have to do with Dratta not uploading? Well, aside from searching for a new place almost every day, I eventually found a place that actually turned out to not be too far from where I currently live. It's actually just right down the street. So I'll be moving literally like not even a mile north of where I currently live. So I'm still in the same area where I currently live, but the new place is a massive upgrade. It's 650 square feet compared to the 194 square feet. And if that doesn't give you perspective of the size, 194 square feet is literally like a pretty good size apartment. It's actually a fairly spacious apartment. You don't think that that's a high number, but if you actually look at it, it's a good size. That's like a studio apartment that's like 194 square feet. That's a pretty good size apartment. So don't, when you're looking, if you're ever looking for apartments and you see something that's like 200 square feet, that's about a one-person apartment. That's a one person. So it would work for a single person. Well, the place I'm getting is a 1-bed, 1-bath at 650 square feet. Now, let me put this into perspective. The studio that I've lived in for 3 years still has enough space to hold all my stuff, but just barely. And I have a lot of stuff. I have a queen-size bed. I have, you know, several pieces of furniture, my computer desk, and all that. It's a decent size. You guys probably have seen parts of my apartment on the recordings of some of my videos. So you kind of have a sense for how big this place is. Well, I'm going to have triple the space when I move. So the place I'm getting is about 650 square feet. So it's a little over 3 times as much space. But as far as not uploading, it's because this last month also, as of September, the Indianapolis initiated a new transit system. So the bus lines and bus times have changed for my job and everything. So what's kind of happened is my travel into work has shifted, and that's kind of been my primary focus. So the reason you're not getting the videos I promised is because all my camera equipment is like packed up at the moment. It's all put away, and because it's all put away, and I'm trying not to overdo it on my computer right now because I'm trying to get all my computer stuff packed and everything. So everything's kind of just getting packed, and I'm kind of just not able to really make videos effectively at the moment. These podcasts are one thing, but you're not going to see one for 2 weeks. Let me just put that out there right now. You will not see a podcast from me, Dratta Arcana, for 2 weeks. And the reason is I move in next weekend. The weekend coming up is my move-in date, and that's when we're moving all of the stuff over to the new apartment complex. Because of this, you're not going to see a video from me for the rest of the week. This is the last video I'll be able to upload for the week. So, needless to say, not only am I in the process of moving, I have a new job schedule too, which is actually hindering the time I get home, because now I don't get home closer till 6 p.m. rather than getting home at normally I'd get home, I used to get home at 3:40, but now I'm getting home, or 4:40, but now I'm getting home close to an hour and a half later is when I'm getting home now. So it used to be that I'd be home easily by 5 o'clock. Now I'll be home by 6. And unfortunately, because of that, I'm currently unable to actually edit. Because by the time I get home, I have to make dinner. I have to get ready, for the next day and everything. And then usually by that point, I'm in bed. I do go in a little later, but, the new schedule, I'm still trying to figure out the new schedule for my job and stuff. So, basically what's happened is that my life is going through some major changes, and unfortunately it just doesn't give me time to work on the reviews and everything I wanted to. On the other side, some positive news. I was once a writing major. Well, I am a writing major. I specialize in creative writing and media writing. And I've decided, after 2.5 years, the last thing I wrote was my TV series that I was going to get published until things changed in my life at that time. But I've decided to pick up the pen again. And so that means that I will be on film fiction at some point. I am not the best when it comes to grammar, but look forward to possible film fictions from me. It's just, my writing content is absolutely a blast to read. I've been told this many times. Don't take my word for it. Just when it gets finally up there, I'll put the link and everything into it. But I am a very good creative writer because that's what I went to school for. So I am a good writer. You'll have to check out my stuff and figure it out for yourself. But just know, after 2.5 years, a TV series I tried to write that had the backing of an entire filmmaking group. I had producers kind of crawling all over it. I still have a producer crawling all over it. She still wants to get it into production and stuff, and I just sent her the full length script and everything. We spent about $3,000 trying to get this thing into production, and that was just to get it started. A lot of work went into it. A lot of people signed releases and stuff. We had a ton of people wanting to get involved with this production. I think at one point we had close to 70, 80 people that wanted to work on this thing. I can even, if you guys want, I can link the trailer that, for the series too. The amount of work that went into this TV series is incredible, but it is not likely to come out, just so you know. My life changed, and this is my life now, and I rather enjoy it. I love my life. So anyways, the reason that you're not seeing videos from me, or you're not getting the promised content, that I did promise, which I don't like breaking my promises, but it's just IRL. Life has gotten in the way, and unfortunately, I am heavily energy drained from the move, from, the new transit system to everything. I've lost a lot of my passion and enthusiasm for content recently. It's nothing to do with you guys. I love you guys. You guys make me so happy. I'm not leaving the Brony fandom, but the problem is that, and I'm going to say this flat, and I know I'm probably going to make a lot of people mad at me, but season 9, the episodes for me they haven't hit the mark that I've been wanting. And I'll have to go over more in my reviews, but just know that my passion for the show has kind of dropped a little bit with the most recent season. I still love all the older episodes. I love them. I absolutely adore them. And I'm not leaving the fandom. I'm going to continue to make pony content as long as I possibly can. But my enthusiasm for my passion for making the reviews, it's just not there at the moment. And it might just be because I'm moving. Also, unfortunately, as far as the MLPCCG goes, and I'm going to say it flat, and I know a lot of you are going to be very disappointed because a lot of you really, really do love my content on the card game. I will promise I will continue to make content for the card game as best I can, but just know that my passion for the card game is literally zilch at the moment. I have almost no desire to play the game. I haven't played in at least a month and a half. The last time I played was at BroNYCon, and I played like 2 games. I didn't play a whole lot of games. Plus, I lost like 2 of my most expensive decks at BroNYCon, along with a lot of CCG stuff. My bag got stolen right at closing ceremonies. So, unfortunately, CCG-wise, I don't know what kind of content I'll come out with for the future. But hopefully some will come out. So, anyways, guys, I'm sorry for the really depressing news, but just know that this move is going to be better, because with this move, I will be able to do more content. I will be able to put more energy into my videos. I'll be in a new place. I'll have a new setup for working on videos and stuff, and I'm really looking forward to the new setup. And I'm super excited to have a new setup, one that will allow me to do more for you guys. Definitely. I plan on still doing a lot more video content. And no matter what it is, I plan on going farther with it. We'll just have to see when, when all of that occurs. But otherwise, guys, this is Dratta Arcana, and I'm sorry I haven't uploaded a lot lately, but I just wanted to get my feelings out there on my situation, what's kind of happened, just so you guys know what's going on. And just don't expect a video from me for 2 weeks, because unfortunately, I'm moving, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, because like I said, this apartment complex I currently live in, they're going through some stuff. The move is going to be healthy for me. It's a better place, a better location, more space, more things to do. And anyways, guys, I will see you all on the next video. Take care, every pony and every creature. Good night.